you have a question, just do the raise your hand feature and I'll go through everybody's. So we'll just go ahead and open up with questions first. Luke, and then we'll go to Justin after Luke.
Wes, I'm just curious now that you've had a month and a half to can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now that you've had a month and a half for some perspective here, how do you kind of reconcile the chance that your team actually had a chance to celebrate winning something, which not a lot of teams have had, with the fact that you didn't get to go on to the NCAA tournament? How do you kind of roll those two things together in your head?
Yeah, it's bittersweet, obviously. Winning an ACC championship, I'm first of all thankful that we were able to get it in and play all of our games. Really happy for our seniors. All that they had, several of them had been through some major injuries and adjusted roles and that sort of thing. And for them to, put the team first, so to speak, and to pull off something like that was really special. Obviously for our fans also, was really excited that we could, we sold out 3 of our last 4 games at home, but we didn't play really well down that stretch. And for us to be able to, there was a whole lot of red in Greensboro, 8,000 fans and over 7,000 of them were wearing red. So I think it was neat to send them home with a win. But then it was, felt like we were on a roll, had some momentum. When you have 3 seniors coming in off your bench, you feel pretty good about how you could maybe get hot in the postseason. So it was disappointing to not have a chance to have a run in the NCAA tournament. But at the same time, we realize there's a whole lot more important things going on in the world right now. So, I'm glad that I told them all year, we want to do something special this year. And we talked about hanging a banner in Reynolds and those sorts of things. So to be able to do those and for me to be able to end the season with a win, you don't get to do that very often. So that was kind of nice as well.
Thanks, Wes.
Thank you.
Justin, you had a question, right?
Froze in the middle of that answer, so I just had to connect with my phone. But Coach, I do have a question for you. Now that it's been about 2 months since your ACC championship, what's your best memory from last season that you've had some time to reflect?
It was pretty. You don't really, as a coach, you don't sometimes appreciate the game that's being played. But obviously ESPN, ACC Network replayed it several times. And, that fourth quarter in particular was pretty special. I think we outscored them 24-21. They went on a 10-0 run to take a 5-point lead with 3.5 minutes left. And then we went on a 13-3 run. And, so that I think was really, really special to end the season that way and end the careers for our seniors the way they did. So it was pretty, that was probably what I'll take from it the most is that Sunday afternoon in Greensboro.
Brett, you're next.
Yeah. How surprised were you that? Sorry about that. How surprised were you that Ace didn't get drafted?
Yeah, I think again, Ace, awesome player for us, invaluable. We're going to miss her obviously dearly. I think we were both disappointed she didn't get drafted, but at the same time, I hadn't had a whole lot of inquiries from WNBA coaches. I think maybe, again, we're both disappointed. I know I spoke with her a day or two before the draft. after the draft, to be honest, I think that's, she was probably disappointed I didn't reach out to her. I think everybody handles things like that differently. It's like me, after a loss, I don't really want to talk to anybody. Okay. I'll do the interviews, whatever. And then, I don't really want to answer my phone or talk to anybody for a while. Whereas, looking back on it, yeah, I probably should have reached out to her a little bit more at that point. I mean, we're fine now. I know, everybody talked about that, but I think just both of us disappointed. But at the same time, it's the WNBA is hard, folks. How many NBA teams are there? 30, at least 30. Okay. There's 12 WNBA teams. How many G League teams are there? I don't know, a bunch. So in the WNBA, you've got 12 teams. You've got, I've been told by some people from inside the WNBA, some teams may not even carry 12 players this year because they gave a new contract agreement. And so to save money, they may go with 11 players or whatever. So it's tough. And, I think she said her agent had hoped she might go in the third round. And I guess that's what you hope for. But, again, Ace did so much for us, handling the ball, obviously shooting the ball. Florida State game, the first half, she, didn't shoot it well. And in the championship game, and I told her, hey, keep shooting it. And sure enough, she hit 3 big threes, and we were able to win that game. So, but it is, there's a lot of great athletes out there. And I think Kiera Leslie, that's what the people in the WNBA kept telling me, that she was like the best two-way player in the draft that year. In other words, she defensively could lock down people, and then offensively she could ring the bell. So it is sometimes a little bit different look, but disappointed. Again, hey, finished with the ACC championship, MVP in the ACC tournament, and obviously earning her degree here very shortly. So she had a heck of a ride.
Have you spoken to her since the draft?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we spoke several times. Y'all, again, going back to that, she told me, Coach Moore, they caught me off guard with that question, and we hadn't talked in the last day or so since the draft. And she said, I didn't know what to say. And we're fine. I mean, I love Ace, and I think she's loved her time at NC State. And but again, she was really disappointed at the time when she didn't get drafted. So, and I understand that.
Thanks, Wes.
Probably more than you wanted to hear, but anyway.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
As usual with me.
Mitchell, you're next, and then Mike after Mitchell.
Yeah, Coach. So since the season kind of got canceled and stuff, one of the big coaching changes in the ACC has been, Muffet retiring from Notre Dame and Coach Ivey stepping in there. Just wondering kind of your thoughts, what Coach McGraw helped bring to the ACC, and what do you think Coach Ivey's going to do there now?
Yeah, first of all, Coach McGraw, she's a Hall of Famer, and multiple national championships. Made a major impact. I told her I congratulated her on her career and on retirement, and I still think she's going to be very vocal and very present out there on a lot of fronts. I don't think she's going away. Coach Ivey, again, was there for, I think, 17 years maybe, or something to that effect. I don't know, a long time as an assistant at Notre Dame. And, they're going to miss McGraw's experience. I mean, you just can't, 30-something years of coaching, you just don't learn that overnight when you move over into that hot seat, But at the same time, I know the first week she got the job, she landed 2 of the top 15 or so recruits in the country. So if that's any indication, we're going to have our hands full still that Notre Dame brand and her experience being there, it's still going to be a tough challenge when you play that team.
Mike.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Before I ask my question, real quick, I think Maddie said you were in Texas. Was that recruiting or just travel?
No, we can't be out. I grew up in Dallas,
Gotcha.
and also, good friends with Gary Blair, the Texas A&M coach. Got family in Dallas still, and that's what I'll be honest with y'all. I pulled over on the road and just to talk with you guys. I'm somewhere in the middle of Texas. I have no clue where, but that's part of the fun of it. So, I just needed to get away. This is a recruiting shutdown right now for women's basketball. We started this a couple of years ago. We have 1 week in May and 1 week in August when we can do nothing recruiting-wise. No phone calls, no text messages with recruits, parents, coaches, no one. And so this seemed like an opportune time for me to get away. And normally right now recruiting's, we're doing Zoom calls with recruits and their parents, and obviously a lot of phone calls, those sorts of things. So for us to have a week here where we couldn't do any of that seemed like time for me to be able to get home to Texas for a few days.
Well, that kind of leads to my question, is just that obviously with our atmosphere right now, I don't know if it's affected you directly yet, but how do you anticipate recruiting being a little different? Because, obviously the summer there won't be, I imagine, a lot of basketball being played, whether it's AAU, that sort of thing. How do you think this is going to affect your recruiting process?
Yeah, obviously we're all going to be in the same boat. So, we're still having discussions of, is there a chance that they play in July? I agree with you. That's not looking real good right now. Do they push some events maybe into August and September, maybe on weekends? We're all up in there, just like, football. Who knows when football is going to be played, and that may affect when basketball's played. So it's tough. I think, too, there are student athletes or recruits right now that are committing because of the uncertainty. Some of them are wanting to stay closer to home maybe because of all this. Some of them are going ahead and making their decisions because they don't feel like official visits are going to happen. Others are holding out saying, I want to take official visits, so I'm going to wait. So it's really all over the board. You just, everybody's a little bit different, but, we're working our tails off, trying to get it done and try to take advantage of the success we've had the last few years. We've got some potential transfers still out there that I think I'll make a decision next week, maybe after this shutdown period. They're probably enjoying the shutdown period right now because we can't bug them. But I would say next week, some more will probably pop on what they're doing.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
JB, you're next.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you. Thank you so much for taking out time for us today. I kind of want to go back to the disappointment of Ace not being drafted, and I'm just wondering from your end, do you feel like maybe there was something more you could have done to help her get drafted, and maybe some of her frustration maybe came with that? Is there anything you learned from that?
No, I think the biggest thing I learned was that I probably should have went ahead and reached out to her that night. I'll be honest with you. We were doing a Zoom call with a recruit and her parents during the WNBA draft that night, which, that's part of we're at the mercy of recruits. When they will agree to do a meeting like that, and most of those meetings take about an hour and a half, you have to do them. But again, that's no excuse. I should have called her that night, reached out to her. You can't you can't make them draft people. Okay. That's a business. And, again, I go back to Kiara Leslie. We had coaches at practice all the time. We had coaches at games, obviously. I was constantly getting phone calls from coaches and that sort of thing. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case with Ace. And again, I think Ace worked her tail off, did all she could. You can't sometimes make yourself more athletic, than maybe what God gave you. And but she has definitely squeezed everything. I think Ace is a great player and deserves a chance, sure. But for whatever reason, those WNBA coaches didn't agree. I talked to a couple, after the draft about can we get her in training camp, and even there again, they said, we're not going to bring a whole lot of people in. Normally, they would bring more people into training camp because some of the elite players would be finishing up their seasons overseas. And so they bring in more players to camp. So to be quite honest, they got enough bodies to compete and run practices and all that. This year, with camps not happening yet, now all the overseas players are back. So they're not
and then obviously she's gone. Do you expect for Kai to move over and handle the ball more, or do you expect a big leap from Kendall? And a second part to that question, for your returners, what kind of leaps and bounds do you want to see them take heading into next year? Mainly Alyssa and Kayla, them being upperclassmen.
right. Yeah, Kai Crutchfield, Kayla Jones, our two seniors. Obviously, we're going to be looking to them for a lot of leadership. Both of them have had great careers so far and done awesome job for us. Yes, Kai Crutchfield will probably be handling the ball and playing the point some. There's a lot of still question marks out there. Kendall Moore, again, Kendall can really shoot the ball well. What I've got to do a better job of and what we got to help her do is be a quarterback. She's used to playing in a situation where she had to score 30 every night. Now, in this situation, we want our point guard to be a quarterback and get everybody involved and distribute the ball. And so we got to do, now this year especially, we got to work on that. Last year, you had Ace, you had Kayla Ely, a senior experience-wise, and you had a Kai Crutchfield who could all handle the ball and run the point. Now 2 out of those 3 are gone. So it's going to have to be Kendall Moore stepping up and doing those things. We also have a freshman point guard, Genesis Bryant, coming in. She was, I think, co-player of the year in her classification in Georgia. And, really, really heady player. Now, again, it's still a big jump from high school to the ACC, so not sure how ready she's going to be, but we'll see. And then you've also got the transfer situation that's still to be determined. Obviously, a graduate transfer can come in and play immediately, and so there is still a possibility of something like that happening. But we'll play it by ear. But, yeah, we still have a lot of improving to do. We'd like to get Kayla Jones and Jada Boyd on the court together. So does that mean Kayla Jones is going to have to try to play the 3 some on offense, and then we'd maybe have Jada Boyd play the 3 on D? But we got to get Jada Boyd on the court. So that'll be a priority. A lot of moving parts now. We lost, like I said, 4 great seniors, so we got a lot of things to figure out.
And what would you like to see Alyssa improve on coming into next year?
Yeah, I think, first of all, Alyssa is just such a great person and friendly person. They call her Big Smile a lot. Well, I'd like for her to be called Big Frown sometimes on the court more. and you'll see it every now and then. You'll see a little bit of a attitude come out as far as that's the opponent and I got to compete. But we got to work on that. We got to work on her decision making with the ball versus a double team. I've been for 2 years wanting her to maybe use the baby hook a little bit more. I think with her length that could be effective. She got to use her left hand more effectively. But really, just too many turnovers. She's got to be able to pass the ball out of the double team because she's going to get double teamed. And then defensively, she's got to have an attitude that she gets mad when she gets scored on, be competitive on that defensive end and fight. Like I said earlier, that's what made Kiara Leslie special was she's going to compete on that defensive end. And so we got to help Elisa get there as well. But, what a year she had. She's worked so hard on her three-point shooting. I think she shot 44% from three. Don't get me wrong. I'm not wanting her to stand around that three-point line all day or by any means. But if she comes down in that trail position, I have as much confidence in her shooting the three as anybody on our team. So third team All-American as a sophomore, exciting future.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
We'll go to Justin and then Alyssa.
Ask you about the impact that ACC championship had on the program. Have you seen any changes firsthand on the recruiting trail in terms of the just overall excitement around the program after that first ACC championship in over 30 years?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of excitement around our program, definitely. Our fans are awesome. And like I said, it sold out 3 of our last 4 games. I know our season ticket sales since I've been here, our staff's been here, is multiplied times 7. And I hope we take another big jump. Ran into so many people that said, hey, Coach, I went over to Greensboro that day that maybe hadn't been to about 1 or 2 of our games during the regular season, but they wanted to be there for that championship. So that's exciting. I think we'll see a jump in that. And, from a recruiting standpoint, we're definitely trying to stress it. We finished second in the regular season behind Louisville and then won the ACC tournament. Definitely trying to parlay that into excitement with recruits. It's tough. We finished 9th in the country last year, 8th in the country this year. We're in the high cotton level. It's tough out here. At one time we were ranked 4th in the country. We ended up, we were fortunate enough to beat Maryland, which they ended up 4th in the country. So when you're in that conversation, you hope that you're a Final Four contending team and program. But we lost 4 great seniors, as I said, and I don't know how exactly all the pieces are going to fit to compensate for that. But we're excited about it, and I'm ready to. It's tough. It's good to see all you folks. Not getting out too much here lately, so it's good to be back, and I can't wait to get our players back because I miss seeing them around.
Alyssa, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, Coach, just what was your message to the seniors? I know it's a disappointing way to end their college careers there, especially not having a chance in that NCAA tournament.
Yeah, you cut out a little bit at the start of that.
I just said, what was your message to the seniors? I know that pretty disappointing end to a season, especially when they didn't get the opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament when they earned it.
Yeah. Yeah, we were going to be a number 2 seed is what they projected us. That means we definitely were going to host again the first and second round. So, you feel like you have a chance to really make some noise. It was weird, though, the way it all happened. We won the championship on that Sunday, and it was spring break for our players. And, in women's basketball, you have a 2-week period between the tournament and the NCAA tournament. So we had given our players I think 3 days off. From the championship game, see some things we maybe could learn from it. And by the time we got on the court, we had gotten some messages saying that the NCAA is saying you can't practice. And so we told the players we don't want to take a chance. So why don't you guys do your own thing, maybe shoot a little bit, maybe play a little pickup or whatever. But we want to make sure we don't break any rules. So we left it at that. Then after they were done and had kind of spread out through Reynolds Coliseum, we got word that there was not going to be an NCAA tournament. So, I think it was you find, Ace and one or two others in Reynolds still. You find a few in the training room. You find a few in the locker room. The weight room. I mean, we were all over the place. So it was really not a unified message, to be honest with you. It was more just on an individual basis. And so really didn't have a lot. We have had a Zoom call where we met with the whole team and talked about the season and the future and all those things. Our kids have done an awesome job with the help of our academic people, Megan Albedres and their staff over there have done an awesome job. Our student athletes have had a great semester. I think we'll finish grades maybe in the next day or so, but they're doing really well. A couple of times I've looked down on my phone and I've had a FaceTime call coming in, and there's 11 or 12 people already in on it. And when I join it, it's the players. And again, they just kind of miss being around each other. And, they included me in it. And then by the time we were done, we've added the assistants and everyone. We got like 19, 20 people on the FaceTime call. I'm giving the girls a hard time that have their bonnet on, ready for bedtime. Giving them a hard time about their bonnets and stuff like that, and just having a good time cutting up with them. So, like I said, I'm anxious to get them back on campus and start a new chapter.
Brett, did you still have a question, or was yours covered earlier?
No, I was going to ask him about his Jada's role next season, and he's already addressed that, so we're good.
Perfect. Last call for questions. Anybody have anything else? I know I wanted to keep it as close to half an hour as possible, but can fit one or two more. Awesome. Well, looks like we're good. Thank you, Coach. Thanks for pulling off the side of the road to make this work.
Sorry about that. But thank y'all so much. And, let me know anytime I can do anything.
Thank you, Wes.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you. Be safe out there.
Thanks,
Coach.
Thanks, Maddie. Appreciate
Thank you, Maddie.
Yes, thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Maddie.
Have a good day, guys.